The phone call came at 2:47 a.m. I knew it was Michael before I even looked at the screen. My twin brother had perfect timing, even from Tokyo. Even when it came to ruining my life. "Sarah, are you alone?" His voice had that careful quality he used when he was about to deliver bad news. The last time he sounded like that, he was calling to tell me our father had his first heart attack. I glanced at the empty space beside me in bed. "James is at the hospital, emergency craniotomy." "Why?" There was a pause. Too long. I could hear the ambient noise of his hotel lobby, the soft ping of an elevator, footsteps on marble. "Sarah, I need you to check something for me. Is James definitely at the hospital right now?" My chest tightened. "Michael, what's going on?" "Just check. Call the hospital, make sure he's in surgery." I was already pulling up my phone, fingers shaking as I dialed Massachusetts General. The night supervisor picked up on the second ring. "Dr. Chen," she said warmly. "Calling about your husband?" Dr. Morrison had to postpone the craniotomy. Patient stabilized, so they moved it to tomorrow morning. He left about 20 minutes ago. Should be home soon. The room tilted. "He left? 20 minutes ago?" "Yes." "Is everything okay?" I hung up. Put Michael on speaker. "He's not in surgery. They postponed it. He left the hospital 20 minutes ago." "Sarah." Michael's voice dropped to barely a whisper. "That's impossible, because I'm looking at him right now. He's standing 15 feet away from me in the lobby of the Grand Hyatt Tokyo, checking in with a woman I've never seen before." They're laughing. She just touched his arm. "Sarah, he's wearing his Harvard Medical School ring. The one you gave him for your anniversary." My mouth went dry. "Michael, that's not funny. I'm not joking. I thought I was seeing things, so I called you first. But Sarah, it's James. Same height, same build, same way he pushes his hair back when he's listening. Same everything." I heard the front door open downstairs. Atlas, our rescue German shepherd, should have been barking. He always barked when James came home. But there was only silence, then footsteps on the stairs. "Michael, someone just walked into my house." "Don't hang up. Stay on the line." James appeared in the bedroom doorway. Navy scrubs, white coat draped over his arm. That tired smile he always had after a long shift. Everything normal. Everything exactly right. Except my brother was watching him check into a hotel in Tokyo. "Right now." "Hey babe," James said. "Sorry, I know it's late. Surgery got postponed." He moved toward me, leaned down to kiss my forehead. His lips felt cold. I pulled away slightly, kept the phone against my ear. "How was the hospital?" "Exhausting. The patient stabilized, so we're doing the craniotomy in the morning instead." He started unbuttoning his shirt. "I'm going to grab a quick shower." Michael's voice in my ear. "Sarah, he's still here. He just handed his credit card to the front desk. The woman with him is wearing a red dress. Designer. She's got her hand on his back." I watched my husband walk into our bathroom, heard the water start running. Everything in me wanted to scream, to demand answers, but something stopped me. Some survival instinct told me to stay calm, to gather information first. "Michael," I whispered. "Take pictures. Everything. Don't let him see you." "Already doing it." "Sarah. What the hell is going on?" "I don't know. But something's very wrong." I stayed on the phone with Michael for another 20 minutes, until James came out of the shower and climbed into bed beside me. I pretended to be asleep, feeling his weight on the mattress, listening to his breathing settle into sleep patterns. But my mind was racing. Atlas still hadn't barked. Atlas loved James, always greeted him with enthusiastic jumps and tail wags. But tonight, I realized, our dog hadn't even come upstairs. That was wrong. Everything was wrong. When James's breathing deepened into actual sleep, I crept downstairs. Found Atlas in his bed in the living room, awake, watching me with anxious eyes. I knelt beside him. "What is it, boy?" I whispered. He whined softly, wouldn't look toward the stairs where James was sleeping. "Dogs know. That's what everyone says. Dogs know." I went to my study, locked the door, and opened the photos Michael had sent. James, clear as day, in the lobby of a Tokyo hotel. James, leaning close to a beautiful woman with platinum blonde hair. James, signing the hotel register. James, walking toward the elevators with his arm around her waist. The timestamp showed they were taken while James was in our bathroom. While he was in our house. I pulled up my laptop and started searching. Started with the basics. James Morrison, twin brother, adoption records. Nothing. We'd been together for 8 years, married for 6. I knew his family. Only child. Parents died in a car accident when he was in college. No siblings, no cousins, no extended family to speak of. It was one of the things we'd bonded over. I had Michael, but otherwise we were both pretty alone. But people don't just have identical doubles walking around. Not unless they're twins. And if James had a twin, why wouldn't he know? Why wouldn't he tell me? Over the next week, I started noticing things. Small things. The James in my house suddenly preferred his coffee with 2 sugars instead of 1. He started using a different aftershave. Said he wanted to try something new. His laugh had a different timing, a beat too fast. When I played our song, Ella Fitzgerald's Someone to Watch Over Me, he didn't automatically pull me close like he used to. He just smiled and kept reading his medical journal. In bed, there were differences too. Subtle ones. His touch was slightly firmer, his rhythm different. The first time, I convinced myself he was just tired, stressed about a difficult case. But it kept happening. And there was something else. Something I couldn't quite identify until the 4th night, when I pressed my ear to his chest and listened. No murmur. James had patent foramen ovale. A small hole in his heart from birth. Harmless, but I could always hear the murmur when I listened. A soft whooshing sound that was as familiar to me as his voice. I'd fallen asleep to that sound for 6 years. This man's heart was completely silent. I pulled away, suddenly cold. Forced myself to act normal. "You okay?" he asked. "Just tired." I kissed his shoulder, moved to my side of the bed, and stared at the ceiling until dawn. Michael called every day with updates. The James in Tokyo was still there, still with the woman. They went to business meetings together. Had dinner at Michelin-starred restaurants. She introduced him as her associate, Dr. Morrison, though Michael couldn't figure out what kind of business a neurosurgeon would have in Tokyo that involved expensive dinners and luxury hotels. On day 9, I made a decision. I called in sick to the hospital, something I almost never did, and went to James's office at Mass General. His secretary was surprised to see me. "Dr. Chen, Dr. Morrison didn't mention you were coming by. Just wanted to drop off his lunch," I lied, holding up a bag from his favorite deli. "Is he in surgery?" "Oh no, he's in his office. Been there all morning reviewing scans. You can go right in." My heart hammered as I walked down the familiar hallway. Knocked on his office door. "Come in." I opened the door. James looked up from his computer, smiled. "Sarah, what a nice surprise." He stood, came around the desk to kiss me. I let him, even as my skin crawled. "Brought you lunch." I set the bag on his desk, glanced at his computer screen. Patient scans. Notes in his handwriting. Or what looked like his handwriting. "You're the best." He opened the bag, pulled out the sandwich. Took a bite. "How's your day?" "Good. Busy." I moved closer to his desk, saw the framed photo of us from our wedding. Saw his diplomas on the wall. Harvard Medical School. Johns Hopkins for residency. Everything exactly as it should be. "James, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you have any siblings? Anyone you've never told me about?" His expression didn't change. Not even a flicker. "Sarah, you know, I'm an only child. Where's this coming from?" "Just curious." "You never talk about wanting siblings." "Never really thought about it." He took another bite of his sandwich. "Is something bothering you?" "No. Just been thinking about family lately." I kissed his cheek. "I'll let you get back to work." I left his office, but instead of leaving the building, I went to medical records, called in a favor with an old colleague. "I need you to pull up Dr. James Morrison's employment records. Specifically, his logged hours for the past 2 weeks." She typed, frowned at her screen. "That's weird." "What?" "He's been here every day. Full shifts. Even pulled a double on Thursday. But..." She scrolled down. "There's a note here about him requesting time off next week for a medical conference in Seattle." Seattle. Not Tokyo. But still, a trip I knew nothing about. "Can you print this for me?" That night, I waited until James fell asleep, then went through his things. His briefcase, his laptop, his phone. The phone was the key. I knew his passcode, his birthday plus mine. But when I tried it, the phone wouldn't unlock. He'd changed it. In 6 years, he'd never changed his passcode. He'd never had a reason to. We trusted each other. Or I thought we did. I tried other combinations. Our anniversary. Atlas's adoption date. My birthday. Nothing worked. I was about to give up when I remembered something. The old iPhone he kept in his nightstand drawer. The one he'd replaced 6 months ago but hadn't gotten rid of yet because it had photos he wanted to transfer. I found it, plugged it in. It had just enough charge. Opened to his old passcode without issue. And there in his email I found everything. An email thread with someone named Jonathan. The most recent message was from 3 weeks ago, the day before Michael saw James in Tokyo. Remember, no shellfish. She'll notice if you have an allergic reaction. Coffee. 2 sugars now. You need to switch. I've been gradually changing it over the past month. She tracks everything. The dog might be a problem. Avoid him when possible. Atlas knows. Dogs always know. I scrolled up, hands shaking. Phase 1 complete. I've been accepted to the Seattle Medical Conference. That gives us the window we need. You'll have 3 weeks. That should be enough time to access her accounts, transfer the funds, and get the formula. Her mother's Alzheimer's research is worth millions. Every pharmaceutical company wants it. We copy it, sell it, disappear before anyone knows what happened. Further up, I found you through the DNA site. Couldn't believe it when your profile matched mine 100%. We're identical twins, Jonathan. Separated at birth, different adoptive families. This is fate. We can help each other. I need money. You need a new life. She's a cardiac surgeon. Her family has money. Between her inheritance and her mother's research, we're talking tens of millions. You play me, I'll handle the business in Tokyo. She'll never know. My vision blurred. I kept reading. Months of planning. Photos of me, my routines, my schedule. Notes on my mother's Alzheimer's research, which I had access to as her medical proxy. Bank account numbers, investment portfolios, everything. James had a twin. A twin he'd found through a DNA ancestry site. And they'd planned this together. The man sleeping in my bed wasn't my husband. He was Jonathan. A stranger who'd studied my life like it was a medical textbook, learned every detail, every habit, every preference. And he'd been living in my house, sleeping beside me, for almost 2 weeks while the real James was doing God knows what in Tokyo and Seattle. I took screenshots of everything. Sent them to my own email. Then carefully put the phone back exactly where I found it. Went back to bed. Lay there beside a man whose face I knew better than my own but who was a complete stranger. In the morning, I acted normal. Made breakfast. Kissed Jonathan goodbye when he left for the hospital. Then I called Michael. I need you to find James. The real James. He's not in Tokyo anymore. Check Seattle. Every hotel. Every medical facility. And Michael, be careful. I don't know what they're capable of. What about you? I'm going to the FBI. Special Agent Rebecca Torres listened to my story in a small conference room at the Boston field office. I showed her the emails, the photos from Tokyo, the hospital records showing James in 2 places at once. She took notes, her expression carefully neutral. Dr. Chen, this is one of the most elaborate identity theft cases I've seen. Your husband and his twin are attempting to steal not just money, but intellectual property worth potentially hundreds of millions. Your mother's Alzheimer's research alone could be groundbreaking. If they sell that formula to the wrong buyer, can you help me find him? The real James? We're already on it. She made several calls, spoke in low tones. Hung up. We've located a James Morrison at a hotel in Seattle. Checked in 5 days ago. Hasn't left his room except to order food. My colleagues are on their way there now. Is he okay? We don't know yet. She leaned forward. Dr. Chen, we need you to act normal. Keep going to work. Keep interacting with Jonathan as if nothing's wrong. We need to catch him in the act of accessing your accounts or trying to steal your mother's research. Can you do that? Could I? Could I sleep beside a man I now knew was an impostor, let him touch me, kiss me, pretend everything was fine? I thought about James. The real James. Wherever he was, whatever was happening to him, he needed me. Yes, I said. I can do it. The next 5 days were the longest of my life. I went to work at the hospital, came home, had dinner with Jonathan. He was good. I'll give him that. He'd studied James so thoroughly that most people would never notice the differences. But I did. Now that I knew, I saw everything. The way he held his fork slightly wrong. The way he paused half a second too long before laughing at my jokes, like he was calculating the right response. The way Atlas wouldn't come into the same room when he was there. On the third night, Jonathan made his move. I woke at 3 a.m. to find him gone from bed. Found him in my study, USB drive plugged into my laptop, downloading files, my mother's research. Years of work, formulas, trial data, everything. I watched from the hallway. Took a video on my phone. Sent it to Agent Torres. Her reply came instantly. Team is moving in. Stay in bedroom, keep door locked. I backed away quietly, went to our bedroom, locked the door. Heard Jonathan come back up the stairs 10 minutes later. He tried the door. Sarah? Why's the door locked? Sorry, must have done it in my sleep. Hang on. I counted to 10. Unlocked it. He came in, slipped back into bed. Wrapped his arm around me. Everything okay? Fine. Just tired. Me too. He kissed my shoulder. Big day tomorrow. Yeah, I thought. Bigger than you know. The FBI came at dawn. I heard the front door slam open, heard Agent Torres's voice. FBI. James Morrison, you're under arrest. Jonathan bolted upright. Looked at me. And in that moment his mask dropped. I saw who he really was. Not my husband. Not even close. Just a con artist who'd studied a role and played it well. You knew, he said. Dogs always know, I replied. You should have paid attention to Atlas. They took him away in handcuffs. Agent Torres sat with me in the kitchen while other agents searched the house. We found your husband, she said, the real one. He's okay. Dehydrated. Malnourished. But okay. They kept him locked in a storage unit in Seattle. Jonathan was supposed to keep him there until he finished accessing your accounts. Is he diabetic? I asked suddenly. James is diabetic. If he didn't have his insulin, he's in the hospital now. He's going to be fine. He's asking for you. They flew me to Seattle that afternoon. I walked into his hospital room and there he was. My James. Thinner, exhausted, with a healing bruise on his temple, but alive. He looked up when I came in, and his eyes filled with tears. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I met him online, thought it was amazing that I had a twin. He suggested meeting in person. And I was so stupid. I trusted him. He drugged me, and when I woke up, I was locked in that storage unit. I sat on the edge of his bed, took his hand, pressed my ear to his chest. There it was, the murmur. That soft, familiar whooshing sound. This is you, I whispered. You're really you, it's me. He pulled me close. How did you know? How did you figure it out? Your heart, I said. Jonathan's heart was too quiet. They arrested Jonathan on multiple charges. Identity theft, fraud, kidnapping, attempted theft of trade secrets. The woman from Tokyo, Elena, turned state's evidence in exchange for a reduced sentence. She revealed the full scope of their operation. They'd done this before, to other people, found lookalikes through DNA sites, studied them, replaced them long enough to steal their lives piece by piece. James and I went to therapy. Both individual and couples. The trauma of what we'd been through didn't disappear overnight. He had nightmares about the storage unit. I had anxiety about trusting anyone. But slowly, we healed. 6 months later, I did something that surprised everyone, including myself. I started a foundation called Twin Identity, dedicated to helping victims of elaborate identity theft and raising awareness about DNA database security. My first client was a woman from Oregon whose life had been stolen by someone who looked just like her. James and I also got Atlas a friend. A rescue puppy we named Scout. Because if there's one thing I learned from all of this, it's that dogs always know the truth. Even when we can't see it ourselves. I still get emails sometimes from Jonathan. From prison. Always the same message. I could have done it if it wasn't for the dog. He's wrong, of course. It wasn't just Atlas. It was the murmur in James's heart, the coffee with 1 sugar instead of 2, the laugh that was half a beat off. It was the fact that even when I couldn't trust my own eyes, I could trust the feeling in my gut that something was wrong. Love isn't just about knowing someone's face or their routines. It's about knowing their heart. Literally, in our case, and no one, no matter how good they are, can fake that.